All right, strap in everyone because today we're diving headfirst into Fourth Wing.
Oh, I am so ready for this one.
Rebecca Yarros' fantasy novel, right? It's got all the good stuff.
Dragons, forbidden romance,
Intrigue, a really cool magic system.
and a heroine who, let's just say, she's not afraid to break the mold.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to unpack in this deep dive. We're talking world building, character arcs,
Thematic depth.
the whole shebang. Now, some of you might be thinking, fantasy, what's that got to do with me?
Right, like I'm no dragon rider.
But stick with us because Fourth Wing tackles universal themes: duty, survival,
Challenging those societal norms?
things we all grapple with, even if we don't have fire-breathing beasts to contend with.
Exactly. And Yarros builds this world, Navarre, that's constantly under threat. So there's this sense of urgency, you know?
Yeah, like the stakes are incredibly high.
And protecting Navarre falls to the riders' quadrant. They're the elite military force.
The ones who bond with dragons.
Think of them like the Air Force, but with, well, more scales and
Yeah.
firepower.
That bond between rider and dragon, though, that's a whole other layer, right?
Absolutely. Is it partnership? Is it dominance?
Control. Because our protagonist, Violet Sorrengail, she's not your typical rider candidate.
Yeah, she's not exactly built for hand-to-hand combat with a hulking beast.
More comfortable with words than warfare, actually. Her heart's set on becoming a scribe.
Right. She wants to work with knowledge, not weapons. But that puts her at odds with pretty much everyone.
Especially her mother, who's like, rider lineage. It's your destiny.
So much pressure, can you imagine? But Violet, she's stubborn,
Resourceful.
secretly studying her brother's forbidden dragon lore book, gathering potion ingredients.
But like she's preparing for a battle she doesn't even want to fight.
It's fascinating, though, right? That internal struggle.
Between duty and desire.
Yeah, how many of us feel that pull? To follow a path that's not quite our own.
And all this before she even faces the gauntlet.
Don't even get me started on the gauntlet. Talk about a trial by fire.
This obstacle course is brutal. Spinning logs, a leaning chimney.
Iron rails that would make your palms sweat just looking at them.
It's designed to push candidates to their absolute breaking point, both physically and mentally.
It really shows you what they're made of, you know?
And Violet, despite her misgivings, she keeps pushing forward.
She's got this resilience, this grit that you can't help but admire.
It's like she knows deep down she can't escape this path, even if it's not the one she chose.
And then comes threshing day, the day these first-year cadets try to bond with a dragon.
The air is thick with anticipation, fear, excitement.
And there's a whole spectrum of dragons, each with unique powers and temperaments. You've got your red scorpion tails.
Green dragons, each more intimidating than the last.
And this is where things get really wild, because Violet's bonding is anything but typical.
Understatement of the year. This girl doesn't just bond with one dragon.
He bonds with two. Tarn, a powerful black dragon.
And his golden mate, Enderna.
Two dragons.
Yeah.
No one has ever seen anything like it.
It throws the entire quadrant into chaos.
Sends ripples through the whole kingdom, really. I mean, what does this mean for the power dynamic?
Is she in control? Are they? It's like someone flipped the script on Dragon Rider bonding.
And no one knows what the next page holds?
Talk about a plot twist, right? I mean, just when she's starting to wrap her head around this whole two dragons thing.
Damn. Another bombshell drops.
And it's a doozy. She finds out the truth about her squad mates.
Yeah, those seemingly loyal, ambitious cadets.
Turns out they're not who they claim to be.
They're children of separatists.
People actively working to undermine Navarre, the kingdom she's sworn to protect.
Can you imagine the betrayal? Training alongside these people, trusting them?
Only to discover they're the enemy.
It cuts deep, especially when you consider Xaden.
Oh, Xaden. The brooding, shadow-wielding wing leader.
There's definitely a spark between them.
Oh yeah, undeniable chemistry. But he's at the heart of this deception.
Which leaves Violet reeling. I mean, who can she trust?
What does this mean for her loyalty, her duty?
Not to mention her feelings for Xaden. Talk about a tangled web.
And then there's Athabine, that mysterious hidden outpost.
Seems innocent enough at first, right? Just a training ground.
But it holds a secret. A truth about the Venin.
These powerful beings who wield dark magic, thought to be long gone.
But Athabine reveals their history is more complicated than anyone realized.
It makes you question everything you thought you knew.
Like how much of history is actually true? How much has been rewritten, manipulated?
It's a chilling thought,
Right.
right? That the past can be so easily distorted.
And just when you think things can't get any more intense,
Montserrat happens.
the attack on the outpost, brutal, devastating.
And it's not just separatists behind it.
Wyverns.
These terrifying creatures, thought to be nothing more than myth.
Turns out they're real, and they're allied with the separatists.
It throws another wrench into the whole conflict, doesn't it? Like things weren't complicated enough.
But amidst all this chaos, betrayal, and fear, Violet keeps growing.
Yeah, she's not just surviving, she's thriving.
Becoming physically stronger, learning to harness lightning.
Which seems to be tied to her silver-tipped braid.
That braid is a mystery in itself, right?
Totally. And it seems connected to Xaden's shadow powers, which adds another layer to their whole dynamic.
Like, what's the source of these abilities? Are they gifts or something more sinister?
It's one of those questions that keeps you guessing.
And then there's Violet's ability to stop time.
Talk about a game changer.
But it takes a toll on her, right? It's
Yeah.
not without consequences.
It makes you wonder, how much can she use it before it burns her out completely?
Yeah, is there a limit to her power? And what happens when she pushes past it?
It's a dangerous game she's playing.
But even with all her strength and resourcefulness, she's still carrying the weight of that betrayal.
Yeah, her squad mates, Xaden, and everyone she thought she could rely on.
Turned out to be enemies. That's a heavy
It
burden.
makes her resilience even more impressive, you know?
She's not just fighting external threats, she's battling inner demons, too.
And then, just when you think she might be catching a break, Yarros throws us that cliffhanger.
Violet, after using her time-stopping power to help defeat a wyvern, falls from Tyrn's back.
It leaves you gasping for air, doesn't it?
Like, will she survive? What's going to happen to Navarre?
It's a brilliant move by Yarros, leaving us with more questions than answers.
It makes you desperate for the next book, that's for sure. You know, when she fell, it felt like more than just a physical fall.
Right.
Like, it was symbolic of her whole world kind of just
Crumbling around her.
shattering, yeah.
It's like a fall from grace, right? Loss of innocence.
Totally. I mean, everything she thought she knew about her squad,
About her place in the world.
it all turned out to be a lie.
And now she's literally plummeting towards the unknown.
Makes you wonder, how would you react in that situation?
Seriously. Would you give up?
Or would you find a way to claw your way back up?
Violet's had to make some tough choices, you know?
Yeah, she's been fighting her own battles from the start.
Internal, external.
And now this. It's like Yarros is pushing her to the absolute limit. Like, what's the breaking point? How much can one person take before they just...
Snaps.
Okay.
That's what I love about this story. It doesn't shy away from the hard stuff.
Right. It's not just dragons and magic.
It's about the messiness of human nature, the gray areas of morality.
The fact that even those we love can hurt us.
It's real, you know? It's not a fairy tale.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive into Fourth Wing, what are some of the big takeaways?
For me, it's the power of choice, even when it feels like you have none.
Yeah, like even when you're falling, when everything's gone wrong,
You still get to decide how you react.
Violet could easily give in to despair, anger,
Even revenge,
but she doesn't. She keeps choosing hope.
even when it's hard.
And that's something we can all learn from, right?
Absolutely. That resilience, that refusal to give up,
It's something we all have inside us.
is what helps us overcome challenges,
Yeah.
learn from our mistakes.
Keep growing, even when it hurts.
So, big questions remain, right?
Will Violet survive the fall?
What about Navarre? What's going to happen to the kingdom?
And can she ever truly reconcile her feelings for Xaden, knowing what she knows now?
Those are the questions that'll stick with you long after you finish the book.
And that's the mark of a great story, isn't it?
It makes you think. It challenges your
It
assumptions.
keeps you wanting more.
Yarros has given us a lot to ponder. A world on the brink of war.
A heroine facing impossible odds.
And a love story that's both passionate and heartbreaking.
Fourth Wing is a wild ride, and we've only just scratched the surface.
So, to our listeners, as you continue on your own journeys,
Think about this.
what choices would you make if you were in Violet's shoes?
How would you face your own threshing day, your own moment of truth?
What are the hidden truths, the rewritten histories in your own life?
And most importantly, what will you choose to fight for?
Keep those wings spread wide.
And we'll see you on our next deep dive.